All right, it's that time again. Welcome to, it's the Valentine's edition, the post-Valentine's edition.
I know you just said that.
It's episode 14 of the Markets Podcast. 14 already.
I had this discussion with my wife, and probably the wrong discussion to have with your significant other. And it was like, what is the most, I don't want to
I'm just getting right into the good stuff.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why people are here. What's up, everybody? Hit the like, hit the
you're well.
subscribe. No, because I always have random things to talk about, especially after just sitting there talking for a while about stocks.
Fine.
I said to her, like, what is the most, and the word is not useless, but it's like, it's not a holiday. Everyone says like, Valentine's, like it's a holiday, but like we don't get any time off work. All it really means is that you kind of got to like spend more money.
Yeah.
Going out to dinner is a little more expensive. What did you guys do?
Flowers is a little...
I was thinking that maybe Halloween is kind of like a holiday that we don't get any days off, but it's a little more fun than Valentine's Day, I feel like.
Yeah,
Halloween, there's parties.
We actually made plans to go out tomorrow night. So
Right, see?
we did absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
On
That's the
actual
point.
Valentine's
And that's
Day.
smarter, because now you'll probably save like 30% on your food because everyone jacks it up. Yeah, smart. I like that.
My wife is in school right now, so she was actually in a class during the nighttime. Anyway, hope you're well. Welcome to episode 14. Hope you had a great week. It was not, if you haven't looked, a good week for the market.
Yeah, let me look.
It was red right across the board for all three major indexes here. This is the S&P 500, not massively. I mean, down 0.5%. We'll take it. We're lower here in the post market. If you're joining us on Saturday, just remember this is being recorded on Friday after the close. So I am envious of those drinking coffee right now, because that is one of my favorite things about Saturday morning.
Oh, I get it. I was gonna say we can just get you coffee right now.
No.
I get the Saturday morning
I mean, like
reference.
the calm.
Me too.
Chill,
oh, the calm. Oh, that's hilarious, Brendan.
quiet.
You must not have kids.
I do not. Correct.
Calm.
Ding, ding, ding.
I really like Saturday as well, but my days don't calm. That's great. That's hilarious. But I do like coffee, and I think that. Let's get this started right now. Then I have a question for you.
Please.
All right. So if you were to have one, like,
hold on. Let me finish what I was doing. 0.9. I don't care. I'm going to do it. 0.9 for the NASDAQ.
All right, you know what? I don't have anything to say anymore.
No one cares about the Dow. It was 0.5% to the downside.
Wait a minute.
You were saying.
You wanted to finish that thought?
Yes.
No. I was going to say, so you're jealous of the coffee, but if you were to go to your local coffee shop at Saturday morning, what would you get?
A oat milk flat white.
Yes, I'm loving, flat white has been my favorite for a very, very long time. So I like that. I've had it with the oat milk, little nutty.
I'm not a huge fan of, like, I find cappuccinos are too much foam.
Same. That's where
And
the flat white comes in.
If you get a latte, it's like too much milk.
Yep.
So you get that happy medium.
Wow.
And
brothers from other mothers over here.
Fun story. Flat white is 2 shots of espresso.
Yes.
If it's done right.
Right.
Not all coffee shops do it right, but if it's done right, it's 2 shots of espresso. A cappuccino or a latte are 1, typically.
Yeah, well, me and you are hardcore with
yeah, we want that extra.
Because I've been drinking, I had 2 matcha lattes.
Okay.
Teas. They're
Not
bad.
a fan. Not a fan.
No? So I get like the half milk, the skim milk, the extra hot, and the half sweet.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big tea guy.
I'm just trying to do something different, because I'm like you, man. I'll just grab the coffee. Yeah. We do have that amazing coffee machine over there. Get the espressos. There's a barista setting on there that you showed me. That was pretty nice.
It's a little bit.
So this CPI print,
strong.
like if you come over to the screen here, just about what you're talking about, we had 14 of the last 15 weeks, and then we come into today, so now it's 14 of the last 16 weeks. This is a weekly chart for the NASDAQ. This just looks like a little blip, Brendan. I think we get really concerned if we come back in a couple weeks.
Do we though? Like, I don't know. Like,
is that worth?
I think that's a buy. Never mind concerned. I think you just.
I think that's when people will start to get concerned. Like I feel like we got a little bit of selling there at the end of the day. Remember we had that news. There was Ukraine and France.
Yeah.
Is that something?
I don't know. Macron was making some comments regarding a security deal that apparently France is going to provide to Ukraine in some sort.
Security deal.
That opens the whole NATO conversation in this mess. So
why did you tell Obi to go home? Because it's Friday, or?
The guy works too much, man. Straight up.
Obi killed it today on.
I know. He's great.
Go home, Obi. Yeah,
it's
right.
a tad warm.
Right. Enjoy your Enjoy your weekend, Obi. It's family day and it's President's Day, and we only have a 4-day week next week, but we got some good earnings. We'll talk about that near the end.
Yeah.
And we got some nice numbers today. We got CPI earlier in the week, PPI today, both coming out hotter than expected, and I really do think that that's going to be a problem moving forward because we're just pushing that rate cut down the line.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we might not get it until November, December. Do we want to talk about that now, Brendan?
Yeah, let's jump into CPI. Here's the breakdown of how this played out this week. If you missed it, as Sean mentioned, 3.1%, not good. We still have this lingering CPI monster in the background. 2.9 was expected on that number, comes out 3.1. 0.3 to the upside on the month over month. So if you were buying Lambos, FYI,
right.
I'm
still waiting for the electric one.
You were paying 0.7% more for your Lambo in that time period. The only thing downside, 14.2%.
New cars. Why does a new car always have to be a Lambo?
Because why not?
Why not? I like that chart though.
14.2% for energy and fuel. That was the only real standout.
I thought Shelter was, what was Shelter?
Shelter was higher.
Yeah.
That was the standout to the upside. To the downside, it was energy.
I mean, I just wrote down that the two biggest pieces of that is Shelter and energy.
Yeah.
And I don't think we could do anything about that. The Fed, I don't think can do anything about any of those things.
No.
Right? If we're still going to have, and there was just a note that came out that Israel was responsible for something there in Iran, more affecting possibly more energy prices. I just don't feel, Brendan, that the Fed's going to be able to do anything about that. So if energy continues to maybe bounce off those lows, which it's doing right now, we've had a couple positive weeks now for energy. What's the Fed going to do about that? Nothing. So I feel like CPI could remain high. Are rents coming down? Not from what I see. And if the interest rates stay high, people aren't. That shelter cost is going to still remain a problem as people continue to pay down mortgages and continue to pay out the wazoo for rents, especially in major cities. So I don't really know. Commercial real estate continues to be a problem. We have empty buildings everywhere. So the Fed's not going to be able to control a lot of this stuff. So I don't know if what about this? What about if Powell came out and said, you know what, that 2% maybe was a little generous. Maybe we're happy with 3. Can we do that?
I think that's massively negative. If
right, because that's basically admitting that we're not winning.
We lost. Not winning, but they straight up didn't do the job. So he's been pounding the table on 2% from day one.
I just worry that if they start cutting immediately, we could get.
It's a problem.
Right.
It's a problem.
Get right back to where we were last year.
The inflation thing is still lingering, and it's a problem. I have a rant.
Perfect. I like these.
2 things. Why are used cars Lexuses on here?
What? Oh, right.
If you're buying a new car, you're buying a Lambo.
Right.
Used car is a Lexus, apparently. Why can't you buy a used Lambo? That's not my rant. The provincial government in this country is adding another 9 cents, I read, per liter to our gas prices going into
They also raised property tax around here too, man. What's up with that?
Again, 9% on the municipal property tax. So I don't know about you, but it says negative 6.4% here for gasoline. I mean, around Toronto, gas is higher than it's been in a long time.
Those are 12-month price changes.
I think if you go out 12 months ago, even in Toronto, we were paying $1.50-ish, if not less than that.
Yeah, and right now it's $1.40. That's at 6%. Isn't that what it said? Minus 6%.
I don't know.
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know. We're well away from everybody going EV. So unfortunately, that's what I was saying about that. The gas, like I go there, Costco still huge lineups for gas. I mean, I think they can get some value there. Costco continues to go upside, by the way. That's a nice little name there as well. But look, I'm not trying to solve any problems. Here in Toronto, it's been a nightmare. You live on College.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, all those bike lanes, everything like that. It's winter. There's no bikes there now. And all we're doing.
You know they were plowing those yesterday?
This is what I'm saying.
Who's riding a bike?
We literally have cars jammed up on the roads while our bike lanes are not even being used.
Picture perfect.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like we are making the move towards a greener nation, but that's going to take a while. And so what was your rant again about the gas?
Gas prices.
You don't even drive that much.
8 minutes. But it's just, I think that's a little bit of a skewed look on the actual price change, specifically in this country. I know that was probably—
I think it's specific to the region, right?
Exactly. I know that was probably in the US and specific to that region in general. But gas is still expensive, and it's not getting
Have you seen UNG?
Before we have all the cyclists that are watching leave us,
They're not going to leave. They understand the situation.
I actually ride a bike most of the time in the summer, so I very much appreciate those bike lanes.
No. So do I. What I was getting at was I think that because those bike lanes won't be used more often than not, because we live in Toronto, where it's colder, more often, right? Yeah. So if there's those 3 or 4 months, I was just thinking that there could have been a better solution, and I was almost thinking of portable. So for example, listen to me here. So you have 2 lanes, right? So you got the 2 lanes. He's listening. 2 lanes now. So instead of getting rid of one and just making it a permanent bike lane, what you could have done was maybe get something that you can cover up one of those lanes, so like an elevate, you know how they're elevated?
Yeah.
So you almost come, let's just say March. Would that make you happy, Brendan? When March is a good time for you to ride your bike?
I mean, this winter, it's like I rode a couple weeks ago. So
that what you do is cover up the bike, the transportation lane that's there now, the car lane. Yeah. You cover up with like a little bit of a, like that, lay it down. Now that becomes your bike lane. Or honestly, come March.
Sounds expensive.
No, it sounds expensive. You know how much this thing costs to do what we just did? All you could do then, how about this? Like a club, you just rope it off. Like not a rope. Not a rope, but like, let's just say October 1st hits or November 1st hits, and you say, okay, now is time that we're gonna have 2 lanes again.
Right.
So then you put some kind of a barrier, like those big concrete barriers, and you just say, this is the bike lane, this is the car lane. I don't know, but this is a stock show.
Lots of solutions. Here is...
I'll be running for mayor very soon, by the way. Sean Katina, 2028.
Why 3 years?
Didn't we just have
a
new mayor?
Is that how long the terms are in municipal? Who cares?
That was 4 years. We just got a new mayor in 2023.
Yeah. But that was on other circumstance, I think.
Yeah, but I think, but what I'm saying is I think it's the same thing. I think it's but I think it's a 4-year term.
I have no idea. Anyway. I'm not going to say because I don't know. 2 weeks, the S&P 500. I know you showed this during the week on the live show, but I thought this was a really interesting chart.
Yeah.
So historically, and big time historically, 1928, this is the worst 2-week period for the stock market.
So weird, huh?
Like randomly 2 weeks in February, the stock market does negative things.
And isn't it the second half? What does that say? Best performance results. Yeah.
Second half of February.
2 weeks.
Yeah, like the second 2 weeks of February.
Isn't that amazing?
It's so random though. I mean, we were talking going back a couple weeks ago about September being historically a negative month for the overall market. Why?
And I think we talked about this in a couple podcasts before as well. I mean, I was thinking that right now, the second week in February, third week in February, we're basically through all the earnings. So I was just thinking, remember we talked about this? I think it could have something to do with tax loss. So when are they going to start? Like now, so a lot of traders may have emptied out and they're now sitting in cash waiting for something to happen. So they're not yet buying because we've just had the first round of earnings for this year.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it's just pulling back down because there's just too much cash on the sidelines waiting for something to happen. You also do have sell in May and go away. I mean, that was a saying, which that chart doesn't really lead to beliing that.
Now sell in February and come back.
I was going to say a stupid something about how maybe people were disappointed in Valentine's Day, therefore they sold after that. But no, I don't really have an explanation other than that we're through maybe Q4. You know, there's a lot of earnings still to come throughout the summer.
Yeah.
People could have just sold some of their exuberance from heading into year end. They realize that maybe the earnings aren't on point and they sell into them. But I don't really have an explanation for that.
I mean, that being said, the market is up huge, or tech at least is up huge again. So there's a lot of profit.
But it would work. That math would work because there you go. We had the first red week in a while.
Yeah.
Hitting into the second week of February. So we'll see what comes.
This graphic kind of confusing, but we also got, it's not confusing, it's just, it doesn't show the whole story. We also got producer prices, PPI, along with CPI this week. We actually got 2 readings, which was weird. The December reading was delayed a month, I guess because of the holidays. So they did the December reading on Wednesday, and then the January reading, which was the more relevant one because it's more current, on Friday morning. Comes in 0.9%, also higher than expected, as you alluded to. We were talking to Frank a couple of times from IG. Make sure you come join us every single week every single day. The market is open on the live show as well. Also, yes, do that. Hit the like and subscribe on this wherever you are listening across all platforms. Leave a comment as well. I was talking to Frank about the simple fact that, and you were kind of hinting at this to start this off, inflation is getting comfortable. This 3-ish area of inflation is getting comfortable. The market is at all-time highs. Rates are not really responding the way we saw them when inflation was at 7, 8, 9%. What is going to have to change here to get out of this 2.5 to 3.5 or 2.5 to 4, let's call it, channel that we're now in interest rates? And I bring that up, and it's kind of a rhetorical question, obviously.
The bond's going to finally have to give them up?
And this is what we're alluding to in the simple fact that Fed Chair Powell is not done. You know, he hasn't gotten to his 2.000000.
But what if we don't even come close? What if the next reading's higher again? Then are we not getting any cuts at all this year?
Exactly.
I was actually reading Ian Shepherdson, I'm from Pantheon, macroeconomics, predicting November, December for the next rate cut. Yeah. What does that do to the market?
Look, I think
I don't have a question. I don't have an answer to your question. Like, what brings inflation down?
I think a lot has to change before we get cuts. I don't think we're there yet. Like, why are they going to cut?
Yeah. I know it's like a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
I don't know why. They're not supposed to look at the stock market. So okay. So if that goes down, they're not supposed to look at that. I've already talked about it. We can go over this right now if we want to. We might as well do that. This layoffs.fyi. I actually am the most concerned.
This is interesting, yeah.
I think the one thing that could eventually turn everybody's decision here would be maybe some loss of jobs. Like we just saw Obi's favorite company, and this is just a joke because I asked him toast or bagels, and he said toast. So toast right there, 10%. We just got that release right now. So you come over to my screen, we have toast, 10%. Look at Cisco right there, 4,200 jobs. Representing 4,200 jobs, man.
Not nothing.
That's a lot of families, right? 5% of that. I wrote down a few others. We've got Instacart right there at 7%, Brendo. Not nice number. Forget about the number. It's only 250. You're going to say that's not that much, right? But once it starts to go, it's going to go. We have Pure Storage, 275 down there. A couple other names I wrote down. Amazon with 400. DocuSign was 6%. There's the Amazon 400. Snapchat with 10% as well going through. And if you look at this layoff chart, so again, it's going to be a little difficult to see on the screen, but it's still here. Let's go back over to it quickly. So it's right here. In January, yeah, I'll just see if I can bump this up a little bit. F what?
F11.
11. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. All right, so there it is. So just puts this to full screen. It's just a smaller chart. But the idea here is in January, 118 companies with layoffs. That was higher. You have to go all the way back to the summer where we only had 117. So we start off the year pretty monstrous right there. And this number's not nice. Over 31,000 jobs laid off in January. So it's like you can add up like all these numbers, like look, 15, 11, like really, really small. And then all of a sudden starting the year, and then now in February, you're already at 8,500. This number could get extended even higher. So I feel like, you know, here's where we started to think about cooling a little bit, right? January, February, we had tons of bad situations for the job market. Yeah. Now we've seen it sort of cool off, but maybe it's starting to ramp up again. This big red candle there with the number of employees in January, that could start something. Yeah. So I wonder if the Fed says, hey, you know what? Real estate's no longer doing so hot anymore. Plus we have high fuel prices. Plus we have more people losing their jobs. Would that start to indicate potentially for them to maybe change that target to a 2.5 or 3%, which would be negative initially, but then maybe we get the cuts to get that back in. So I don't know, man. I wish I had a better answer for you what's going to cause this, but honestly, you have Frank on all the time, and we always talk about this market sort of upside down right now. Yeah. Like we see TLT starting to go back to the upside.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and we've seen the U.S. dollar starting to rally huge now. Yeah. The U.S. dollar. So maybe
Nike was another one today. We got
what was up with that?
1,600.
Oh yeah, oh the jobs.
Job cuts from Nike.
Did Nike go up today on that?
I mean, that list that you just showed, am I wrong, was mostly tech.
Pretty much.
So now we're finally starting to see, and 1,600 is not a small number. Now we're starting to see some of the other names.
And we haven't even, me and you went back and forth about this a little while ago. Like some of those names are AI names, but realistically, like when that starts to kick in, we actually saw, GPT released something, what is it called? It's where you can do videos now.
Oh, I saw
the
that.
graphics.
Yeah, it's S something.
Yeah, Sora?
It's crazy, by the way.
Crazy. I saw someone say, like, maybe you saw the same tweet. It was like, you know, have woolly mammoths running through the winter with snow flying everywhere.
Yeah.
And it literally, I don't know, I just saw the tweet, but it produced it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and I was thinking to myself, like, if you're an animator, like, sure, and there's going to be animators that are listening that are going to say BS and everything like that, but just to the common person, I worry a little bit about that kind of stuff too.
It's going to take a while, I think, to get to the animators, but I saw a really interesting review on that, and they highlighted stock footage. Like, if you think about drone pilots,
right?
Like, if somebody wants stock footage of a waterfall or something for a movie, they have to hire a drone pilot to actually go and shoot that.
Now they can find it.
Go to ChatGPT and get something that is, you know, perfect on a replication.
I realized how important it was when my daughter was doing her project, and she's like, she had to do a cover for her book. I think I was telling you guys this, and it's like her and my wife were just opened up Canva. They told it what to do. You know, we had a couple extra hands and fingers and everything everywhere, but it was there, and she submitted, and the teacher was like, "Oh my God." And it's just like, but you know what? I had this. A shout out to all the teachers, and you come from a family of this. I was there. I was at the school last Friday for movie night, and I was talking with some of the teachers there, and because I got to suck up because get the kids better marks and stuff like that. And then they were telling me that they said that they could tell if kids were using AI, like ChatGPT, to write some of their essays and some stuff like that. So I feel like there's still going to be something there, but I don't know. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. We had Cole's Notes when we were growing up. I didn't read one Shakespeare play, sorry to my teachers and everything like that. I went to the library. I was just like, you know, Midsummer Night's Dream. Like, okay, chapter 1 had this, and then I was, you know, going through all that. You a Hamlet guy?
God, no. There's some of the add-ons now that you can put on ChatGPT. There's one that's called Humanizer.
What is that?
It's specifically designed to get rid of that problem, to make what it produces more human instead of AI.
Right. So there you go. So put like a couple errors in there to make it seem like
more conversational.
Right. Someone would say, "There's no way Sean talks like that." He'd throw in some mispronounced or mistyped words, right? So. Okay. No, look, I think it's getting much, much better. But you know what? Microsoft's not pulling back really much.
Yeah, let's get to that. I wanted to talk about Apple and Microsoft. There's a lot of AI news this week from both Microsoft side and Apple. More importantly, and maybe a bigger deal, I think, in the long run, depending on what happens next, Warren was selling. Apple, specifically.
Yeah, I know the story.
I mean, he was selling some other stuff, but who cares?
So he has 905 million shares, and you're going to ask me about him selling 10 million shares?
Let's show it, because it's not a huge deal.
Oh,
here's his portfolio, updated look at Uncle Warren's portfolio. It's still
51% Apple. What is he doing?
It's still massive, man.
Yeah, of course.
The scale of panic that came in on media when that came out,
dropped a couple bucks, didn't it?
No, but like just the headlines that started coming out.
Yeah.
Warren selling, it's the top, it's the top, it's the top. Everyone was panicking. It's still 51% of his portfolio. It was getting to a point, I think, and you called it, when the notional
live on the market recap show. By the way, join me every single day at 4 o'clock.
When the notional value gets to a certain point in a portfolio like this, obviously they're going to trim some.
So I mean, I don't know the way that it's set up. What's the constitution or whatever of Berkshire Hathaway, what they say, but maybe potentially it's always been his sort of mantra to not own X% of a certain company.
Right.
So maybe it's just trimming that. But like that's not even a trim. Like 900 million down 10 million.
It was 10 million.
Maybe he had to pay a tax bill or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even I have
sorry, the other point to make here is this goes back to the end of 2023. So it's as of the end of December.
So he could have even bought them back.
Exactly.
Yes, you'll probably see the next filing. So I sold 10 million to pay a couple people, whatever, and I bought 20 more on January 1st.
There you go.
And that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. But look at this. I have this chart up here. I wanted to actually talk about NVIDIA, which we'll do, but here's Berkshire still. So these are the largest global companies in the world. We have Saudi Aramco, which just went public. That's 2.1 billion. Microsoft, Apple. So now Microsoft's actually, what about this, Brenda? They're starting at $3 trillion, starting to ease away a little bit from Apple. It was always an Apple world, and it seems like it's taking, I was going to say, What's up to Adara? I said that, I'm about to say Microsoft's taking a bite out of Apple. Brendan's hanging his head. Shout out to Adara. All right, but anyways, NVIDIA now passing Google and Amazon, which I thought was pretty important because that's just happened in the last like 6 months with NVIDIA was not even on this list and now is number 4. A little bit of a concern for me. And then there's your Berkshire right here, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, right there on the top 10. So Berkshire's still there. And of course, basically an ETF, in my opinion, really shouldn't be on this list. But at the same time, what about Eli Lilly? You don't see Tesla anymore. You see Eli Lilly, a brand new entrant into the space. I think everybody has to own some Eli Lilly shares for what if?
GLP-1 is the monster that everyone's talking about it being.
Well, I mean, it's so far so good, right? I mean, look at this chart for Eli Lilly. I mean, if you guys, I mean, this is insane. Up to 780? Like this is, people are talking about SMCI, people are talking about NVIDIA. This name, just back here, let's go to the first of the year, was $600. You're now at $800. This is a legit company with tons of product and not even approved globally yet.
Exactly, that's huge.
Like,
that's huge.
You know, and you have so many people that are waiting for proof of concept. Like, it's such an early thing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I feel like, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin, I feel like now that we get this Bitcoin sort of boom up to the upside a little bit here off of a respected release of all those ETFs, I feel like the same thing could happen with Eli Lilly. The more approvals, and then what about when it's in a pill form? I'm very excited for this. I think Eli Lilly deserves to be where it is, and I don't think there's a bubble there, but you watch. Tomorrow, Eli Lilly drops 30%. You always have headline risk.
I don't.
There's always headline risk in everything.
A couple things on that. I was reading a little bit about GLP-1. My wife is actually doing a course on holistic nutrition right now. So she was reading about this as well, and we were both talking about it. The first thing to understand is, and I didn't even know this, your body naturally produces GLP-1. So this is essentially just overdosing on that specific.
Kind of like a steroid in that sense, right? Like you're boosting up whatever system.
Yeah, and it caps your need to, or your feeling of being hungry. It's really, really fascinating. But yeah, I mean, all the best to them. I hope it works out well.
It's just that whole needle that you got to take. Was it a couple times a week or once a week?
And it was
pretty expensive, I feel like, still.
The other thing that's kind of a little bit of a question mark, I was also reading that the more you take it, the more you have to take of it.
Oh, it's like
so it like just
you can't just like wean off of it.
No,
or anything?
it just exponentially gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
So that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Or I'm selling Eli Lilly.
I wouldn't.
Neither.
I had a thought, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, I know, AI. Let's touch on the AI angle here for both Apple and Microsoft, because this was very unlike Apple, I think, in the way this kind of came out the other day. What was it, Thursday after around the close?
It was on, let me think about it. Oh yeah, it was on the market recap.
Yeah, it was right at the close. Bloomberg reports that AI is readying their,
what does that even mean?
I don't know, their GitHub-like offering.
Oh, Apple is.
Yeah, or Apple, is readying their AI offering to compete with Microsoft and OpenAI on the enterprise side specifically.
It was a GitHub thing, wasn't it?
We sat here all day Friday. Nothing from Apple, nothing.
No, I was disappointed today.
Nothing more coming out on that. And I said to Sharif this morning, this is very Bloomberg-esque.
Yeah.
Bloomberg typically will like grab something they hear in the wind.
Yep.
And just run with it. And
who
cares if it's right or not? It was never denied by Apple, which is a point to make. But I was actually expecting a little bit more to come from this today.
I'm trying to Google this because there is an event that Apple, I thought we had talked about this before, that there was an event where Apple was going to announce in the summer something about AI with Siri and all that stuff. Maybe that's not there.
It's
but anyways,
February 16th?
No, it's still a while away. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like we all got very euphoric there because I remember on the show I was like, oh man, I'm going to be smashing long. And today, on today's Sticky Note, the #1 idea was Apple, which turned out to be good. We had to let it drop into 182. But yeah, no, not as exciting as I thought.
It moved.
I don't know enough about GitHub. Like I'm not going to talk about like, I don't code or anything like that. I think we're all waiting for it to be on the platform, onto iOS, into Siri, into Apple CarPlay, into the Buds, like
anything and everything.
Yeah. What are those things?
AirPods.
iPods.
Not brought to you by Apple.
Soon.
Did
you have one of those? I had one of those little wheels. Those little you remember they had the clip. You could actually clip it on.
Yeah.
No, the iPods.
Or iPods. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I still have one. I'm gonna look for those. It was a little gray one. It had a little Nano. How far have we come from there? That's crazy.
I had like the big ass one too, like the initial or version 1 that was huge. Man. It's crazy how technology.
Remember we used to use Napster, and I never did because it was illegal, of course.
LimeWire.
LimeWire, yeah, that was another one I never used. And then there was a few other ones, but now all of a sudden it's like you just wait for it to show up on iTunes or Spotify, kind of like where we are right now with the podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like. I want to see people. I'm looking for more comments.
Yeah.
Let's get some reviews.
We're going to do that this week, and we should do that next week. If we don't do it this week, leave a question on any platform that
I want to ask Brendan more random questions.
Yeah, leave a question on any platform that you are watching this on right now. Next week, we'll come back and revisit those.
Yeah, me and Brendan were talking about that, and I was like, let's try to get some questions from the viewers.
It's a great idea.
So put some questions on there. We'll take the top 2 or 3, and we'll literally answer them. And I have a question for you. What's your favorite color?
I want to touch on Microsoft. We'll get to that in a second. Microsoft's AI, look, we have to keep some sort of format here.
Oh, you could have just said blue.
Ding, ding, ding. There's not enough blue around here.
Yeah, that's predictable.
Microsoft AI angle with Sam Altman.
Where the hell are they getting $7 trillion from, Brendan?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia?
Dubai.
I thought we said trillion.
He's making the rounds through anyone and everyone.
Saudi Aramco, okay.
He came to, apparently he was in Washington this week and trying to get even the US government behind this, and maybe even some funds from the US government to back his $7 trillion venture into GPU.
Wait a second, is that how much money he wants to
That's what he wants to raise.
But how do you do that? Like
rich friends.
Rich friends? $7 trillion? Like
what's the
all
GDP of
that I hear, look, we called the SMCI kind of top. We asked Daniel Shea yesterday about get me some put ideas on SMCI. I fell 20% today. Okay, it is what it is. The same thing's going to happen with AI at some point.
The GDP of Canada is $2 trillion.
Brendan, I just showed that thing of the top companies, man. You can add up. Look, Microsoft, so if you sold all of the Microsoft shares in the world, you wouldn't even be halfway. That's $3 trillion.
Yeah.
Then you'd have to get Warren to sell all of his Apple and you to sell all of your Apple and everybody else. You're still not there.
Yeah.
That's $5.8 trillion.
All of Canada then puts their GDP into
so
that.
What exactly is happening? I almost feel like that is a LYFT typo. We had a 0 on that for some reason.
No, it was.
I know. It's kind of a rhetorical question.
I don't know. It's crazy.
If we're not at a bubble for that, I think AI is going to be monstrous, and I think they will find some kind of funding. But let's get some explanation of why you need $7 trillion.
Like you're telling me he doesn't get $1 trillion? He's like, cool. I'll be good with that.
Yeah, I mean, but what are they trying to build?
Exactly.
Right, so that's what I'm trying to figure out, right? What is it for? I think AI is there, but if that's not a sign of a top, when the leader is trying to grab $7 trillion in funding, that just seems like an outlandish number that was thrown out there to grab headlines, and now we're talking about it, so congratulations. ChatGPT has sent Microsoft through the moon. Great investment by them, OpenAI. Everything is really working out, and I feel like it's going to continue that way. Copilot is an absolute monster, and I feel like it's going to continue that way.
That being said, I actually spent this week on purpose
using Gemini.
And I have to say, I'm borderline ready to switch entirely. I know they have the store now and all the add-ons.
So what's the big thing that's getting you to do that?
It's just, it's more efficient. It's faster. It seems like it's just less glitchy and less hangy. Like you'll get to a point with ChatGPT if you have enough conversations open where it just straight up says, I can't do any more for you at this point. Please come back later.
Maybe it's
or
because you
something
just
to
have
that
more
effect.
experience with ChatGPT. Maybe Gemini will do that eventually, but that's interesting to
Who
hear.
knows? Who knows?
Thing is that right now they're not monetizing really any of that yet, right? So Microsoft's making the big in waves with Azure and with company-specific revenue streams, right? Right now, Google is what? It's $20 a month. It's to me and to you. I feel like this is what we talked about last week. Remember, a salesperson goes into a tech company, talks to the CIO, and says, "Hey, do you want to figure this out with AI on the Microsoft platform, using Azure, using our cloud, using ChatGPT, using the store that we have, all this kind of stuff." If they say no, they go to the next person. I just wonder, is Google too far behind that now? You know what I mean? Are there too many companies that are really working with Microsoft ahead of Google? You know, what kind of contracts are they signed into? How does that look? Google, by the way, on a daily chart, like, I mean, it's not looking super healthy. Let me just come over here. And
it's another one,
it's breaking through that 140 level today, and it's actually, Brendan, out of all of them, man, you're breaking below the 50 period right now.
Do you buy that here?
I did already. I bought it this week. I bought it at 142, so we'll see if that hits, but I'm doing the same thing as you. These names I'm not.
No.
I'm treating like Google, Microsoft, Apple, like a lot of the big tech names as basically ETFs where I don't want to ever sell. But I feel like, the 200 down here at 130, that should be interesting to get supported. Obviously, we're through earnings a couple weeks ago. And it's not trading that well. This big yellow candle, we were up to 154 on earnings. We dropped into 140. Now it's that gap. We're looking to fill it. We've done that. Now, if you don't hold 140, I do feel like the next place to go is back into the 130s, and it looks like the low 130s. So I feel like this is why you raise capital.
And their earnings report was good.
It was fine.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
I don't have a problem with any of these reports.
You brought up that chart of the overall NASDAQ to start things off. If we do get that pullback that we were talking about on the NASDAQ, where does that put Apple, or where does that put Alphabet? Where does that put Apple?
I just wonder what names would people really be selling? I think Google's PE, I feel like, is still fine, right? I mean, you're not completely out of the water with some of these things. I'll find what the PE is now, but I think we talked about this last week where we had the current S&P 500 was 55% above its historical average for PE.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some pullbacks, but then where are you going to put your money when the music stops, right? And I feel like you're just going to go back into tech names.
Yeah.
So let the NASDAQ fall down a little bit, and I think you just stand there with open hands, trying to buy more and more.
I might actually do that on Tuesday for Google.
They don't
One that stood out this week, there's a couple that stood out this week on the earnings front. Here's one of them, Shopify, absolute monstrous quarter, 7.1 billion in revenue for Shopify. We were talking about this on a side note in a meeting today. Looks great for Shopify. Shout out to Canada.
Yeah, I didn't really do too many notes here for Shopify other than the fact that, retail remains, I guess, pretty strong, for Shopify. But it was a nice downside move. They battled back. And I feel like if you look at the chart here for Shopify, I just want to talk quickly about the chart because, here's the earnings. Like, you were so far, it's just like you extended so much there that when the earnings came, we fell right back into the 50 period. And then the next couple of days, we've been buying this name back up. Yep. So Shopify, we did have some interesting stats there. A nice beat on the EPS, so 34 cents versus 31. Beat on the revenues, a new record on merchant sales, free cash flow. They talked about Cyber Monday. We know we're always looking for deals out there. Now, you do have a little bit of a lull because there isn't like a huge sales event coming anytime soon. But I just think the more comfortable people get with their current payment solutions, the more they're going to stick with it. They obviously have a decent rate right now. Shopify provided lower than expected guidance for free cash flow. So we'll find out about that and adjusted operating income. So I don't know if they took a one-time hit there or anything like that. But not bad. You just had the graphic up. And I feel like it's fine. Increasing, I'm just looking at it right now. Revenue and margins seem to be fine. They continue to be growing. Whenever you're a growth company, that's what you want to see, higher revenues. They're not a bio candidate or anything like that, but again, Canadian company that I think we have to be pretty proud of. Shopify continues to work, still off of its highs, but
they went 7% to 11% on margins.
That's what I mean.
Like quarter over quarter.
It's continuous. It's nice. I like it. I own some Shopify, but look, the thing about it is like I get nervous. Like, if you come over here to the weekly chart, it's just a COVID darling. Like, it got so high up there, 168, 170, that I just wonder, is this not a beautiful move from these bottoms? Like if you were sort of buying back into some of this support down here, $37, $38, and now you're up at 80 and 90, is that not, and you talked about the NASDAQ potentially falling down. What do we sell? Do we sell names that we've had huge moves up, like a DraftKings, like a Palantir? We sell companies that are relatively, and Palantir is not a new company, Shopify sort of is, so is DraftKings, a newer technology company. Do those names get hit a little bit more than the Apples and Microsofts and all that? I feel like when you release a bad earnings report like Roku did today, you're going to get people that have fun money in there that just wind up selling because the move didn't happen. I'm more excited about the bump up that we've seen in China over the last couple of days.
Finally, much needed one as well. Where do you want to go here? I mean, there's Airbnb, there's DraftKings, there's Hood, there's Coinbase. I don't think we need to spend too much time.
I don't want to talk too much about Airbnb because honestly, Airbnb continues to do nice. They did report a slower growth in nights booked that they're projecting there for the first quarter. I feel a little nervous about that. But if you come over and look at Airbnb, it's really holding some nice levels as well. This is a weekly chart. They're making money. It's holding some nice levels here at 150. No real dip down for Airbnb. I still like that one. We've seen some nice battles back in this company like a Disney, which has some sort of a travel aspect in it as well. We heard JetBlue today. Carl Icahn took 2 seats there. I know we're getting a little bit away from Airbnb, but I like the name. I think it's a relatively new business, only going to grow. A hard one to get into. We know that there's Vrbo there for maybe longer or individual units. I like Airbnb. I think they're developing a little bit of a moat around them, and the earnings seems to prove that.
I think this is the time of year as well where people are looking off into the June, July, August travel seasons and starting to plan, you know, for vacation.
I mean, look at their rev. I mean, I have their. We didn't show anything for Airbnb, but this is what I wanted to show right here. If we could do this. Look at this. Key takeaways from the report, right? Revenue up 17%. That's what we want to see. Net income, though, still negative, right? So not making any money. We're going to find out about that. Gross bookings, right? Nicely up 15% year over year. EBITDA, there is the adjusted earnings per share right there. 738 million, up 46%. Free cash flow is nice. 998.8 million nights.
That's a lot of nights.
You know, and experiences. Buyback. What did the buyback do?
998 million nights.
Sorry, 98.8 million.
I was going to say, okay.
Still a lot of nights.
That's a lot of nights.
Still a lot of nights.
What's the average? Is it in there? What's the average stay? I wonder, that'd be interesting to know.
Forward guidance was nice, man. 12 to 14% year over year growth on revenue.
I feel like people would stay in an Airbnb longer on average than a hotel. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, because I think that when people look for Airbnbs, they are maybe looking for extended stays.
And alternative.
I feel like you get tired. Like, for example, if we were traveling with the kids, I'd much rather stay in an Airbnb than a hotel. Because
agreed.
But then the hotel, the only thing about the hotel is, now that I say this out loud, the hotel has a pool.
It's more fun.
Yeah.
Typically. Unless you splurge.
Yeah, I mean, you can get an Airbnb with a pool, but the problem is like, this is Canada.
Let's get into crypto here. I want to touch on Coin and Hood, and then we can talk some BTC, because wow. This was kind of an interesting chart. Don't call it a comeback here for Robinhood.
Robinhood?
Yeah, I mean, surprising great quarter for Robinhood. Sharif and I were discussing the simple fact that it's still, I think, too much on the interest side of things for Robinhood versus trading and actual trading revenues. They did have that promotion going back to this quarter where they were matching transfers 1%.
So, yeah, right. I was gonna say.
And they were actually it was 1%, but they were targeting, you know, high net worth individuals to bring a lot of money, obviously, over into Robinhood. So good for them. Don't call it a comeback. Coinbase, we talked about it on the show on Friday. Again, come and join us every single day. The market is open. We're live on YouTube.
I mean, dare we say that maybe all that nonsense, Brendan, that we were experiencing during the meme madness when Robinhood was really getting taken through the, you know, sort of the ringers there. We all know the story. Dumb Money, good movie. I liked it.
Yeah,
I
wasn't a fan.
I liked it. But I mean, the thing is, I only saw it once, and I saw it on the premiere down there at Roy Thompson Hall. Right. So it was really hype. Like it was like a big theater.
It was exciting,
so it was more exciting. So I hadn't sat down and actually watched it other than when it was hype. So I thought it was pretty cool then. Being in an audience, it might be different at home where you're kind of like, yeah. But we were surrounded by fun
the
characters.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was fun. But no, I was just wondering that I think Robinhood can be a success story moving forward because there's a lot of traders, although maybe they got burned by Robinhood, maybe they didn't. Maybe they're upset at them shutting off GameStop and AMC trading and that whole story there. I think it was just GameStop, right? But the idea behind it is now they've gotten customers and they have potentially now, and I don't know about you, and we don't have to give away who we invest with or anything like that, but I've never changed. Quest Trade, right. But why would you, but you're still going to use them. Probably.
Such a pain in the ass.
Oh, to get the money out.
To change.
Right.
It's such a
right. So that's what I'm saying. So as long as their fees are somewhat reasonable and you're probably going to keep your money there. So as long as Robinhood can introduce some new products, which they've been doing, you just talked about some concerns, but if they can introduce some new products, give us some incentive to stay with them, then their average customer base, and I don't know what it is, but it's probably the youngest of all the brokerages. Sure. So therefore, if you extrapolate, hopefully better, I was going to say PR, you know, like if they can sort of quell all the negativity, then they have a good user base, a really large growing one, cheap trading still, and they can start to offer you different products. You know, give us your cash and we'll give you, like what Apple's doing, 4% on cash or whatever, and therefore they have a larger base. Then they can start to say, hey, why don't we offer you ETF trading at a discount? Why don't we offer you maybe portfolio management? I just feel like there's a lot of opportunities there. And then now we talk about AI, they can know their customers a little bit better and focus products there. I like Robinhood, but the unfortunate thing is I'm invested in SoFi.
That's okay. That was actually what got me on Quest Trade. They have free ETF trading.
Yeah.
So if you're buying and selling ETFs, why not?
I know, but does $4.99?
It's not a big deal anyways, but anyway.
I like Robinhood, but if you look over at a weekly chart, just before we switch off Robinhood,
go for
it. You said don't call it a comeback. I won't, because it's not really. You know, it's from 8 to 14. That's beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of stocks there that come from the bottom. They started from the bottom, now they're here.
Ish.
Drake reference, probably.
Very
oh my
good.
God, Baxter's phoning me. What are you doing, Baxter? Okay.
Get back to school.
Yeah, get back to school. He's actually, we'll talk about that after. But anyways, it just goes all the way back to April here. No, he's like with venture capitalists now.
I heard you saying that.
Yeah.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, he's about to make a lot more money than me, which is great. That's what you want for your kids. But no, anyways, look at this 14. It goes all the way back, man, all the way back to the actually 2 years ago. So January, February, March here of 22, where we had a problem getting through. And now look, we're right there again. We bounced our heads off that last summer. We didn't get it. Now there's that. We did IPO over at $35. We had some nice highs into the 60s for Robinhood. I still think it has a chance to go. I like the stock. And I think that any little pullback on this name, I think you want to buy it. Robinhood there, proof of concept seems to be working.
It's not looking Michael Noss smiley face-esque.
Not yet.
But there's still time. This was kind of an interesting graphic that's worth noting on Bitcoin. What did we end the day at, 53?
No, we under 51.
52?
Under 52.
52 something?
Yep.
Market cap, however, has
right?
once again broken that 1 trillion mark for Bitcoin again. So right there with exactly what we were just talking about, Google, Amazon, Meta, Eli Lilly. They still have Tesla on here, but yeah. Tesla's, wow, 638 billion.
I mean, we mentioned, and going higher. I think that's probably higher today because they had a nice move over $200 today. Look, I just feel like those ETFs, me and you sat here and, you know, the week that those ETFs were out and we called the bottom possibly at 38, 39,000 was literally, that was pretty much dead on.
Yep.
We fell back into that $40,000 area and we've just been going northbound since then. I feel like those ETFs are well received. I mean, they seem to be easily traded.
Lots of liquidity.
I hear people talking about them. I hear people switching from different accounts out of Coinbase into their IRAs or into accounts where they can manage these ETFs. You mentioned free ETF trading on many platforms. A lot of these new ETFs have come with very, very low fees associated with the management fees and whatnot. So yeah, I think it continues to be a good one. I don't even have a Bitcoin chart because there's not that much to talk about. I feel like we are going to go back in a test in and around that 60,000, 52, 53. I think we take that out this weekend. And I mean, honestly, we had a huge number from Coinbase today. That's great. Coinbase taking out 52-week highs again on earnings. Now they fell back in at the end of the day, but I just think that, hey, if you're gonna wanna buy any other coins, you gotta use some exchange. And until we get those ETFs, I think Coinbase is gonna continue to be good. And again, proof of concept. People seem to be understanding Bitcoin more and more. You know, we haven't had the big switch over from, what was it? What's the South American country that switched? El Salvador.
Thank you.
I don't know how successful, what's up, Fabian? I don't know how successful that's been for them. I haven't been following their economy or anything, but I do think it makes sense. There's a lot of traders that are now trying to hold on to some Bitcoin. It's now become also a trading vehicle because you can use these ETFs now. And so I like it. It's a 24-hour market. Part of that interests me. And honestly, it didn't even really dip down. We had the NASDAQ fall down on some of those worries there with Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah.
Bitcoin held.
Yeah, very well.
Bitcoin held very well, and it held well during CPI prints, held well during PPI prints. Can't believe we're relating this stuff to Bitcoin. Brendan, did you know it was a year ago, a couple weeks ago, Bitcoin was $1 10 years ago, a couple weeks ago. So that was amazing. Like, what a 10-year run in Bitcoin, $50,000, $1.
We should, this reminds me, we should have our friend Natalie Brunell back on the show because
immediately,
if you remember, going back to, this was more than a year ago, probably at this point, she was saying it's already at a point where buy it, hold it, use it as an investment, dollar cost average into it. The trading aspect wasn't there at that point. The ETFs weren't there at that point. So it would be good to get her take. So, check out Coin Stories, by the way. It's a great podcast.
Second greatest podcast.
Second greatest podcast. Shout out to Natalie Brunell. But it would be good to get her take on how this.
Why don't we try to make her one of our first guests?
I think that's a fantastic idea.
No, but the thing I feel like, and it's not throwing shade at her because we're going to have her on, but there's a lot of people that don't trust such bulls. So when we have her on, when Bitcoin's at 20,000 or 22, people are going to say, oh, of course, you know, she's probably loaded up in Bitcoin. Of course they're going to pump it. But then when you get someone educated like she's coming on, and we've had the Crypto Burb on here as well, Adrian Zadunchuk, come through on the show a couple times, they know their Bitcoin. And they know the cases. Like we have the halving coming up soon again. So there's lots of stuff happening. I just think Bitcoin, the more you talk about it, the more legitimacy it seems to get, man. It's holding these prices. I feel like people get scared when there's those whooshes, and we're not really having that.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
And I mean, if you think going from 46,000 down to 39 or whatever that bottom was, come on, man. I mean, you're literally having stocks doing that almost on a daily basis, dropping 6, 7, 8%, as if it was candy.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin is finally starting to become accepted. I think it's an investment that you need to have in your portfolio. I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10% makes sense, not financial advice.
Agreed. Let's keep going because there's still a lot to get to here. I wanted to touch on Uber and Lyft because those were interesting reports this week. I've been trying to find a reason or a way or even like to convince myself to buy.
Become an Uber driver? You don't need to, Brendan. You're a great host.
I'm not gonna be an Uber driver. To buy Uber at some point.
Right.
Because I think there is a case for this. I just couldn't wrap my head around it yet at this point. There's still so much question. There's still so much, can't Tesla just do this tomorrow with a fleet of, we talked about this last week, autonomous Model 3s, and then Uber's just nothing? Like the actual food delivery side of it is a different argument, but I don't know. Convince me here. Why do we need to buy Uber?
I'm just looking at its PE ratios near 82. High.
Yeah.
So, all right. The only thing I can really say about Uber is, you know, I really think that Uber could be changing. I mean, here's the chart. I mean, it's an absolute monster. It's been added to the S&P 500. The proof of concept is there, but I think a lot of us that were using Ubers already knew it was going to work at some point, but now they're actually making money. I've seen Josh Brown and various other people have started to sort of upgrade the stock. We got an upgrade from Wedbush there as well, Dan Ives. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of hype into the AI of all of this, but at the same time, I mean, do we not have to start to just invest in companies that we continuously using?
Regardless,
because of the revenue growth potential.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, it's like if more and more, like for example, Like I just had a phone call there from my 21-year-old, 22-year-old. And I guarantee you, if he's going out tonight, he's using an Uber, you know? And I just feel that it's now become like my wife and I went out, you know, it was a $10 Uber ride. But again, we still called an Uber. We made that, we weren't even really drinking.
Yeah.
It's just to give you the opportunity to have a drink or two. Yeah. And I just feel like right now, there's a lot of money out there, and it's a safer way to travel. It makes a lot of sense. Will autonomy help them? I think so. Was that strike? I didn't even know anything about it.
I didn't either.
I don't think it affected the stock at all. I don't think it did anything. No. Uber, they just announced a buyback program for the very first time. So they're giving their cash back to shareholders by taking in more shares. So I like all of that. What about if they announce a dividend? I mean, that could be something else coming through. They don't have enough cash to do that yet, but I like Uber. What about if Uber said enough is enough, we're buying LYFT? Do they need to do that? I mean, most Uber drivers are probably LYFT drivers.
Doing both anyway.
Doing both anyways, but that could be something that happens. You know?
Yeah. Do you have LYFT on your phone?
Yeah.
I don't.
I haven't opened it. I only have it on my phone. I probably no.
I don't even have the app.
But I'm
haven't
Uber
once
One.
used it.
Are you Uber One? I'm Uber One.
I don't pay for no.
Yeah. So Uber One sent me something. It was like $10 a month, but then after I canceled it for a while because I wasn't really using it, then they sent me something $40 for the year.
So what do you get? Like a discounted rate?
Yeah, so you get 5% off of of everything.
Okay.
Which is already.
Not bad.
You just use it a couple times.
Not bad.
And then I guess they say they send you more promotions. You're supposed to get better drivers and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's not.
My thing is, it's still a pain in the ass to get a car.
Yeah,
depending on what area of this, like our city that you're in, at what time of day, it takes it feels like a lot of time for someone to actually accept your ride, and then for that person to actually hurry up and show up. Half the time they're still dropping someone off a few blocks away, and you have to stand there and wait.
You know what else you can do on Uber, actually, that I was thinking could solve a little bit of that worry? They also have like a parcel delivery service. So if you wanted to ship something, just because you talked about being in Toronto and being in major cities, it might be hard to get Uber drivers. I wonder if it's because that segment is also taking away some drivers.
Right.
You know, because instead of now, if you just want to get something from like, you know, northern Toronto to southern Toronto, just as an example, that is now a 10-minute, 30-minute thing. Because you could just literally tell Uber, hey, look, I have a package I want to deliver. Or maybe your mother's not feeling well, you want to send her a bowl of soup. Honestly, it's an Uber, yeah, it's quick, it's easy. Yeah. So I don't know, I just feel like they're expanding the operation there, and the more companies that sign up, like McDonald's has a great offering with them, Wendy's, stuff like that. There's just a lot of Starbucks, like you can get all of that. And we saw Instacart start to head to the downside a little bit this week, Cart on their earnings. We saw DoorDash today. I just wonder if Uber's starting to really just, you know, cement the top spot there, and those are things we want to invest in. I like Uber.
Agreed. I was mentioning on the live show this week, I was actually at a grocery store in our neighborhood that had
what was up
those AI grocery carts. It's the first time I've seen it, where you can see like in the store where something is, you can check a price on something, you can actually check out your entire purchase in the actual cart instead of going through the cash register.
They have that at Scotiabank. Did you know that you can go in there, grab a beer out of the, not talk to anybody.
Like a dispenser?
Yeah, no, it's not, well, it was a fridge. But it's just an area, so no one's serving you. You walk in, you open up the fridge, you grab whatever beer you want, and then basically you walk out. You tap your phone when you go out, and then it knows what you've got and everything, and that's that. Like I'm not even sure how that works.
Wait, we had that. I can't remember the company. I apologize, but we had a company on the show that was talking about the AI doors on the beer fridges at arenas.
That's probably what that is.
But that was more for advertising. But
I'm gonna take a video of that tonight when we do that because I'm going there. So
that's really cool.
That should be a lot of fun. Anyways, everything's changing.
Huge week coming up next week as well. You mentioned Costco off the top. It looks great as well. We're going to get more on the retail side of things from earnings land. Walmart, Home Depot is reporting coming up this week. Some cybersecurity, PanW is reporting this week. The big one, though, obviously, NVDA. We'll get to that in a sec. Rivian and Lucid coming through as well. Hopefully we'll hear more about.
I like that call that you have on Rivian, man. I really think that $15 spot is a nice spot.
Hopefully in front of, I think it was March 7th, if I remember correctly, we're going to get that R2
I feel
teaser.
like buying. I feel like the right play is to buy Rivian ahead of earnings, a small.
Yeah.
In case something happens there.
Yeah, I mean, you can give it to 15 and call it a day and see what happens.
I like that. I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
It's not one of those, like, chips or anything like that. Walmart and Home Depot are both coming. We have a consensus EPS forecast of $1.63 per share on Walmart. We have it $2.73 consensus on Home Depot. Both dividend payers, both some nice stocks. Here's the Walmart chart for everybody looking. Walmart right now. I'm just going to call up a weekly chart so you guys can see just how dramatic some of these moves are. Brendan, get ready. I'm going to ask you either or. There's a nice move up there for Walmart, and then so Walmart's at all-time highs and breaking out as we speak. Home Depot still has a ways to go.
I sold the Home Depot at 300 the first time it went through 300.
Yeah, okay.
I never.
But what do you think is a better stock? Like, we're not going to break down the financials. I don't have them in front of me or anything like that. But if you could say, okay, let's choose a company and we want to buy it right now.
That's so tough.
So Home Depot. The reason why I'm going to choose What are you choosing?
Just because you said that, I'll say Home Depot.
Yeah, because I just think that Walmart, again, they're a consistent dividend increaser.
Yeah.
So is Home Depot. Basically, they're both dividend aristocrats. I just feel that we got such a nice boost up there with Meta announcing that they had this dividend. Walmart's at these highs. They continue to operate. They're really, I feel like they've got kind of both markets.
Yeah, I like your initial argument too, like the wider range of perspective.
Cast a huge net.
Exactly. You can get groceries. You can, buy running shoes. You can get, electronics.
I'm honestly thinking that there should be an ETF, and maybe there is one, and there probably is. Maybe it's the S&P 500, but just has the best of every single segment in that ETF. So, for example,
it's the Trader TV Live ETF.
It would have Trader TV Live in it for media.
Right.
Okay. Then it would have for example, for food services, you would have just McDonald's and maybe a Starbucks. Then you would have for retail, you'd only have Costco and Walmart. Then for a tech, you could just have any of them. But the best of the best. Only the best of the best.
Great idea.
So when Walmart is there and we have an opportunity to trade that, I really like Walmart. Plus, this is the thing I was sort of leaving. We maybe forgot about it. There's the split coming. So that
I totally forgot about that.
Right. See,
3-1.
That's why I'm here, Brendan.
4-1. 3-1. I can't remember.
3-1.
Buy now.
Trader here, remembering these things.
We're not seeing. It's kind of interesting. We're not seeing that typical crazy run up into a split.
My daughter's here. Do you want to come on the screen? No. We're going to the hockey game tonight.
Enjoy that.
Should be a lot of fun. The battle on Bay Street.
I heard you say that today.
Montreal versus Toronto.
But it's
where your PWHL Toronto team will win against Montreal tonight.
How many teams are there in that league?
6, Brendan. You want to buy one? You want to open one in Hamilton? I was thinking that we could get a team together.
You could probably find $100 for that or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The salary cap in the NHL per each team is 80-something million, 1.25 each team can spend. They only have 24 games though. The highest
paid.
NHL 82 or yeah.
So it's vastly different.
Baseball 160,
which is insane.
A lot.
Seeing as how your lovely family is waiting for you, let's continue along here.
Over there, she's flossing.
There's not a lot on the economic calendar this week. We're going to get FOMC minutes on Wednesday. We're going to get some PMI data, and that's about it. So it's going to be one of those weeks, I fear, because it's a short week, it's holiday shortened, that we get some kind of moves in yields and interest rates and the dollar even that don't really make a lot of sense because there's not a lot of directional data, but stay tuned for that. What did you trade this week and why?
What did I trade this week?
Any trades for the long term?
Oh, for the long term.
The long term.
Oh, so you know what I was actually looking at here? So something that's fallen apart actually, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit, was DocuSign, because DocuSign, they got that bad note for financing from the potential deal. They were going to get bought out, and by private equity, and apparently they could only sort of scrounge up, it was 13 billion or something like that, and that was sort of the current market cap for DocuSign, so the underwriters wouldn't fund it for more than that, but they just fell right back into the 200 period moving average.
Underwriters.
I'm just thinking like this could be a buy down. I really like DocuSign. I feel like it's come back in. If they were kicking the tires on it, there might be something there. I do like DocuSign for a little bit of a pullback in on those levels. But
you don't think there's 1,000,001 different alternatives now for that?
Is there?
Yes.
I thought that that DocuSign has the IP where they've been approved by various governments to be one of the only ones that, as long as you're using their platform, that the signature will hence be valid.
But like, why doesn't
like Adobe? That's what I'm thinking.
Adobe has a product.
Yeah, I know.
That does exactly the
That's
same
why I'm
thing.
thinking that there's already so many companies, law firms, and so on and so forth that are using DocuSign.
It would
So I
be
feel like
wise
they
to-
have a
yeah.
user
Yeah.
base down there. So I'm wondering if there's a floor. That's why I'm saying the 200 period. If you break dramatically below that, then you can get out. But I just feel like they could be a buyout target. Because often you hear that. A deal will fall apart and someone else will swoop in and take them private. So I think that's a good opportunity. But I recently just bought Alibaba.
Okay.
So that was a play where I just said, you know, if you look at the chart here, I don't love the name, but again, there's so many investors. We actually saw Michael Burry, I think it's his third or fourth largest holding, is Alibaba. Charlie Munger was a huge Alibaba guy. There's a few others, and I don't want to drop names because I don't know exactly the hedge funds that are in them, but there are, or not the hedge funds, the funds that are in those. I feel like Alibaba has a chance here above the 50-period moving average. They've already reported. You had a nice move down on the report. You held that bottom. Forget about all this garbage down there. Anything under 70, I think, is a concern, but let's hold out hope that Alibaba can get back up to the upside. Hey, man, it's a big one. They're a monster. They're a monster. No, it's not just a trade. No, this is an investment.
Okay. Cool.
I want to be in this for a while, but the trade that I like is the one that you're already in, and I like Rivian down there. We've also talked about the bottom in Tesla. There's Rivian holding 15. Let's see, report on Wednesday. Yeah. Tesla's, I think, is a good idea to get long as well.
I bought more.
Right, exactly. So I think if you're going to talk about Uber as a story and full self-drive, I think you got to obviously look at Tesla. Got to point the gun there. And then honestly, we had Deere with not a great number. They're falling back in. If you want to get a solid dividend company that has a chance for, again, a rebound in the world's economy. Obviously, the U.S. continues to just be the greatest, apparently, economy in the world with all these U.S. stocks just ripping. But you do have some worries in China. I think if that gets settled, Caterpillar and Deere are going to be great names. Caterpillar continues to be a good one. I like Deere down there. Yeah, but other than that, no, I do like Walmart heading into earnings.
Cool.
So let me wrap it up. Walmart buy.
Yeah.
I think DocuSign, you hold it against $50. I think you hold Alibaba against 70. And by the way, how good is Palantir, baby? You know? $25, Brendo.
Apple 180. Yay or
What?
nay? Buy.
Nay.
Always.
Nay.
Nay?
Yeah, like a Clydesdale.
I bought it
big
today.
ass nay.
I bought it today.
Oh, well, no. I mean, if we're talking about investments.
Yeah.
Oh, you bought it at 182 then?
Yeah. With more orders below to this, essentially. This is the daily chart. There you go. Down here.
Do you want to come on? I want you to. Come on, come over here. Come on. Everyone wants to see how cute you are. No, she's too shy. My daughter's here. She's wearing her hockey jersey.
It's time to go, my friend.
Huh?
It's time to go, my friend.
Why don't you give me a stock?
I just gave you two. I
Apple
bought Apple and added to Tesla.
Oh, Tesla. Okay.
Yeah, those are the only two.
We're not giving any like hero plays here. I think those are both really good plays. You don't want to buy some Nikola down here?
Pass.
So my wife and I started watching One Good Thing, Loudermilk. You ever heard of Loudermilk?
No.
Yeah, Chris Brecher. So he suggested it. It's actually really popular, man.
What the hell is Loudermilk?
What the hell is Loudermilk? You're dropping things that no one's even understood. Loudermilk, I thought was pretty popular, man. Yeah, it's 3 seasons. It's, okay, I don't have really a good image yet. Hold on, let me show it. Okay, I'll just show that. I mean,
2017?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
No, but it's a lot of fun. This guy's a rehab. So it's AA. He's the leader or the, what do you call it? Host? No.
I have no idea.
If you are running Marisa, the guy in Loudermilk, what's his position there? He's at AA, he works.
Consultant?
Counselor.
Fabian's
Fabian.
just crushing it today.
Anyways, it's pretty funny.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you know,
Loudermilk.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'd watch it. It's really easy watch. 25 minutes an episode, easy peasy. Some fun stuff, not too vulgar, not too nothing.
I have a.
I was thinking about rewatching.
What is that
Sopranos.
on?
Netflix.
Oh, okay.
You like it. I'm telling you, you like it.
Okay.
It's pretty dry humor. I was thinking about rewatching Sopranos. But
Have you
that's a big
seen?
commitment. That's a big commitment.
Oh my God,
right?
what's her name? The daughter that was in Sopranos.
Oh yeah, I can't remember her name. It's been so long.
They have a podcast now.
Oh really?
Her and the guy that played the son.
Okay.
So they have a podcast.
Yeah, so I want to get back into
It's
that.
hilarious. Speaking of podcasts, I have one is my one good thing this week. It's called My First Million.
What are you
Sam
gonna-
Parr, Sean Puri.
So what is that? What to do with your first million?
It's VC-ish,
Ooh.
so it's pre-public type stories, investment type stories. My First Million. Go check it out. Sam Parr. and Sean
Counselor. I
Puri.
can't believe I couldn't remember counselor. Wow.
It's a challenging word.
What's for dinner tonight?
I have no idea.
Yay!
It's a guest appearance.
Dun, 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 dun. So this is everything for me. Hi, Gia. How are you? Look, she's even got her number on her chain here. You see number 20 right there?
There you go.
You know, all this. She's got her PWHL2
The bling
here.
going.
I thought we were wearing white tonight, no? She's got the jacket here. She's got a white and a blue jersey. Man, thank God my wife is so good looking because otherwise, you know, you get your looks from your mother.
I do.
You're very beautiful. I love you so much.
All right, go spend time with your family.
All right.
Episode 14 in the books. Thank you, sir. It's been a great week. It's been a red week for the market, unfortunately.
Yeah.
but
Finally a red week. I think we have another one coming up.
We need it. Catch us on Tuesday. Remember, it's a long weekend. Enjoy your long weekend. We're back Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock this time. Brand new second screen
Oh, yeah, I'm
and
so
second
excited for that.
stream coming up this week. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go subscribe to Spotify.
And I want
subscribe
people to
all
put
the
questions in there. What questions do you want us to answer?
things. Do that, and then we'll answer them next week. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.